Religion is my business, and business is good.
Join me in welcoming Mr. Christopher Marola. Chris is a political consultant extraordinaire. His website is Red Momentum Strategies. Well, actually, that's the name of his business. His website is redmomentum.com. Out of curiosity, why one name and the other name for the website?
Well, the Red Momentum Strategies and the redmomentum.com make sense because Red Momentum Strategies would just be too long. I wanted to simplify it. Plus, there's a certain branding that comes with just saying Red Momentum. You know, red for the red states, obviously. So
I understand. That makes a lot of sense. So DHS has joined up with the IRS in snooping on Tea Party people, veterans, conservatives. Well, what's all that about? What's going on there?
Yeah, exactly. Now we're finding out that the Department of Homeland Security has been spying on Tea Party groups as well as veteran groups. Now, we conservatives and you people like yourself, libertarians, we're not surprised because we knew that this is the tactic of, a Chicago-style left-wing radical named Barack Obama, a man who was raised on Acorn, who worked for Acorn, the radical organization started by Saul Alinsky. So we're not surprised one bit. But, to think that this is going on without Obama's knowledge, you have to be either naive or willfully, lying to yourself. They just keep racking up. The hits just keep coming with this administration. Clearly, this is intentional because, remember, it was Obama's DHS director, Janet Napolitano, who called out these very groups as being potential terrorists.
Yeah, well, I remember early on she called them out. Veterans, returning veterans as potential terrorists. Yeah. Mind-boggling stuff.
Yeah. She said pro-lifers, evangelicals, people who believe in the Second Amendment, states' rights people, Tea Party people, people that believe in, the Constitution, the Founding Fathers, evangelicals, all these types of people, were all considered potential terrorists. I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. And so here we go. Yeah, by announcing that DHS under Janet Napolitano's watch believes these are potential terrorists, well, why should we be surprised? But again, like I said, the hits just keep coming with this Obama administration.
Chris, you have any updates on some of these other scandals? I think you've done a good job breaking some stuff that had yet to make the mainstream media. And speaking of the mainstream media, do you think they have now kind of started to circle the wagons around Obama?
Yeah, I predicted that would happen. But there will always be a few who will, batten down the hatches and try to ride out the storm when it's 2 or 3 scandals. But now we're talking 12, 13, 14 different scandals, maybe more, that have bubbled to the surface. And what I think they're going to do is focus on 1 or 2 and make those 1 or 2 scandals consume the time and the energy. And so they're just going to wear people down with those 1 or 2 scandals so that everyone will forget about the dozen or so more. This is what happened with Bill Clinton. By focusing simply on the adulterous affair with Monica Lewinsky, they took attention away from the real issue and why he was being impeached in the U.S. House, which was he lied under oath to a grand jury, a federal crime, a perjury. He perjured himself. That was the crime that was justifiable for impeachment.
Oh, and he suborned perjury.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it was turned into, this was all about sex.
Right, exactly. That was the spin. See, if the media could make the issue about sex, then people are like, oh, ho-hum, who cares? And then they forget about the fact that you have a president who just violated federal law and perjured himself. To this day, Bill just got...
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, to this day, Bill Clinton cannot practice law in Arkansas. He was disbarred in his home state from practicing law because he perjured himself.
Now, on this DHS spying on veterans, I mean, what were they hoping to gather? I mean, I saw the headline. I'm not familiar with the story. I do know that early in the Obama administration, DHS had labeled veterans as possible terrorists.
Right.
Do you think this was more a form of harassment leading up to the campaign, or do you think they really think we've got terrorists among us with our veterans?
I think they're gathering intel. I really do. I think they're gathering intel to figure out what the Tea Party, what the veterans groups, whatever, anyone who opposes Obama, loudly and boldly, they want to gather intel. For all we know, they're gathering intel on you and me, Alan. So, I mean, the bottom line is they just want to put together a profile. I mean, didn't we find out that Nixon was doing things like this? He had FBI files of all kinds of people.
Political opponents.
Yeah, exactly, precisely. So, I mean, it's not a long stretch of the imagination to believe this is probably probably, we don't have hard evidence, but because it's been done before, it's not a long stretch of the imagination to believe that that's probably what's going on.
Now, you mentioned also there's another group that they've been spying on in addition to the veterans, that they spied on the Tea Party. I mean, what motivation could they have for spying on the Tea Party? I mean, I know a number of Jenny Beth Martin, for example, who's kind of emerged as their primary spokesperson. I mean, she's a nice girl, lives down here in Georgia, couldn't be any nicer. She's just worried about the fiscal condition of the United States. I mean, what's there to spy on her about?
Well, exactly. But see, when you come from a left-wing socialist worldview and you believe that the government is the beginning and end of everything, then anyone who actually believes in protecting the Constitution, the Founding Fathers, well, you're just out of touch. You're just radical. It's amazing how they've turned everything upside down. What is normal, they call radical. What is radical, they call normal. And as I mentioned in numerous occasions, I should say, on the show, the underpinning, the foundation of liberalism and socialism is humanism, which is undergirded by relativism. As long as you believe that there is no order in the universe, everything is randomness, everything happens without our ability to change anything except go with the flow. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is no absolute moral truth. This is what relativism and randomness is all built upon, these crazy theories. This all goes back to like Nietzsche and those guys, 150 some years ago.
Who?
Brought about Nietzsche.
Oh, Nietzsche, okay.
Yeah, these guys about 150 years ago were the philosophers.
I thought I heard Nietzsche, but tell the listeners who you mean by Nietzsche in case they don't know.
Sure. Nietzsche was a guy from Germany around the time of the American Civil War, you call it the War of the States. Around that era, he began promoting these ideas, and I guess his belief in those ideas goes back a little bit before his time as well. But he was one of the men who popularized what's known as National Socialism, which is Nazism. And so it's no wonder that Germany was then later, consumed by Nazism, because long before Hitler, the belief in National Socialism, whereas everything, of course, comes from the state, that belief had begun decades before. So by the time Hitler came around and World War I exploited the German people, they were ripe for, the picking, so to speak, by National Socialists, because National Socialism had become so much a part of the fabric of their culture for decades.
Chris, what do you think's up with John McCain going over there and visiting with the Syrian rebels, the very rebels who previously had pledged allegiance to Al-Qaeda, and now he's talking about, they need our support? Well, what's he thinking?
Well, obviously, he's more of an interventionist. He believes that our military needs to intervene and be involved in a lot of these skirmishes around the nation. I guess that's part of the Woodrow Wilson foreign policy. So apparently he's just trying to build allies and spread his interventionist policies. Obviously, I don't think we need to be involved in that many things. If we are involved in a kind of foreign war or foreign military engagement, it has to be in our national interest in some way. And so, yeah, I'm not sure what it is that drives him to do that, but he certainly is more of an interventionist.
Well, I just know that regardless of what's going on in Syria, it really does not affect our national security, and why he chose Memorial Day to sneak over there and stand side by side with people who, 4 years ago we said were the enemy. I'm just mystified by it all.
Yeah, I'm mystified by that as well. I can't agree with the interventionist foreign policy, although I don't think we should bury our heads in the sand either. I think we need to pick and choose carefully, which military engagements we engage in and which ones we conduct. So we need to be more careful. I don't think we need to be the policeman for the world, but I also don't think we need to run and hide either. We just need to be careful, again, and be selective with which military, operations we engage in.
Chris Marola, ladies and gentlemen, redmomentum.com. I'm Alan Butler. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you tomorrow, Tuesday at 10 a.m. In the meantime, have a good day. Talk to you later.
Quitting time! Quitting time!
That's all, folks.